So John Durie from The Australian, ASIC's come out pretty hard in the wake of this latest mortgage scandal.
Right. They have ASIC. Obviously, the mortgage market's is one of the few markets showing any signs of growth right now, and ASIC has really, for the last 18 months, flagged action against mortgage brokers because they're concerned that they're a potential loose cannon, if you like.
Now, is one of the problems with this whole sector that the system is set up in a way to encourage some dodgy dealing, that from consumers through to dealers, maybe even into the banks, that there are people taking liberties along the way?
Well, I think one of the problems with the mortgage market and financial services in general is that it involves money, and money quickly turns into greed in the wrong hands. I should say, we're talking about a $1.3 trillion market here, the mortgage market, and the latest scandal involves 110 million. So I think we should put it in perspective. But ASIC wants to send a few warning shots, and the publicity generated by this case should be enough to sort of put the industry on notice that ASIC's coming, and they ought to look out.
Now, is there any cause for a regulatory overhaul here to maybe take things out of the hands before it even reaches the stage where ASIC needs to step in?
I don't think so at all. I think ASIC have taken action. They're alleging that these people have written fraudulent loans, and let's let that go through the courts before we think about any regulatory overhaul. This is a warning shot to the industry rather than saying the whole industry's corrupt.
Now, obviously, whenever we talk about mortgages and scandals in that case, our minds always jump to America and the GFC.
Right.
Is there any concern that in a very competitive mortgage market in Australia that banks will start to bend the rules a little bit to try and create an advantage and set things up for some pain in the future? Well,
sure. That's obviously always a concern, and that's, again, why ASIC have got, well, there are two problems with mortgages: that the borrower inflates his or her income so that they earn 100,000 when they only earn 50,000, or they borrow too much money. And in this case, that's what happened. The income's been inflated, and the loans have been too much, and so they've been fraudulent. And that's always the issue, that the banks push the envelope. There's no evidence of that happening right now. And as I say, we should treat this as more a warning shot from ASIC. And rather than being the whole industry's ruined. Yeah.
Fair enough. It's good to be realistic about these things. And just in conclusion, what kind of response are you expecting from this? Do you think people will fall in line pretty quickly here?
Well, hopefully they will, but experience tells you not. The financial markets, it's just always a constant battle between fear and greed. ASIC's trying to create some fear here, which has worked, although there's been questions raised about how competently they've been catching these people, if at all. But inevitably greed comes through.
We'll have to keep an eye on it. John Durie, thanks very much.
Thank you.